I'm delighted to welcome Don TAPSCOTT. He's the chairman of nGenera Insight. He's also the co-author of Wikinomics, a book on mass collaboration and how mass collaboration is changing everything. Let's start with Wikinomics. Wikinomics is a book that advocates the use of mass collaboration by organizations and firms in order to externalize some of their expenses, but also invigorate the creative process. Is this something that you see being taken on board by mainstream companies, or is this just an internet phenomenon?
No, in fact, all the cases in the book were not internet companies. They were companies that make consumer products, a gold mining company, an aerospace manufacturer, banks. I mean, this is all about a fundamental change to the corporation, to the deep structure and the architecture of the corporation. And what's happening is that what the internet does is it radically drops collaboration costs. So peers can now come together and they can collaborate to create everything from an encyclopedia to an operating system. The Linux operating system is the dominant operating system in the world for medium and large computers, and it has some big customers like China. It turns out that this is the best way to make a motorcycle. The Chinese motorcycle industry is dozens of little companies. They all cooperate on the web. They meet in tea houses. There's no OEM. There's no Harley Davidson pulling all the strings. And this is now over a third of all global motorcycle production. And get ready for the €1,000 car from China as well.
You spoke about the importance of companies changing business models. These are interesting times for the internet, especially over the last few weeks. We've seen the four main men at the Pirate Bay having a jail sentence passed down to them for illegal file sharing. We've seen an international campaign for the introduction of 3 strikes and you're out laws for people involved in illegal file sharing. Is this the end of this sort of peer-to-peer collaboration, or are we looking at the old industries as dinosaurs fighting under a meteor shower?
Yes, they are dinosaurs. This is the death agony of an old model. It's like the buggy whip manufacturers trying to prevent people from using automobiles. I mean, that's the equivalence. The music industry is a great example. The internet was the best thing that ever happened to them. All they needed to do was change their business model from making music being a product to music being a service. Everyone will happily pay €3 or €4 to get access to every song ever recorded, streamed onto any device at any time. No one will steal music. Why would you take possession of the song if you can have any song at any time? And the whole issue of piracy goes away. But no, instead, the industry that brought you Elvis and the Beatles is now suing children and is collapsing. The music industry is collapsing and it's going to go away. And this is futility and it's foolishness. And not only that, it takes our economies and society in the opposite direction to which we should be going. We need new, fresh thinking about intellectual property if we're going to innovate for the 21st century.
Are you ever concerned that there are good aspects of the old economy that are being undermined? Something like journalism, local newspapers, that had a business model that worked, that delivered local news, and yet that's being undermined by something like Google News, which is a sort of a parasite on that good journalism and hoovers up all the advertising from local newspapers and prevents them from continuing. Does that not concern you?
Well, I'm concerned about what's going to happen to local news because most newspapers will vanish in the next few years. So it's a big challenge, but who do I blame? Do I blame the innovators like Google, or do I blame the readers who want to actually get involved and generate content? Or does the blame really rest with these old models of the newspaper that they took the play and they tried to film it as opposed to making a full-length feature movie? And you can't do that. It just doesn't work. So why didn't the New York Times invent the Huffington Post, which now has greater value than the New York Times? And why didn't Microsoft invent Google? And And why didn't Hollywood invent World of Warcraft? And why did, I mean, I could go on and on. These leaders of the old paradigm have great difficulty embracing the new. I'm sympathetic to them. I love the New York Times. I think the Financial Times is a great newspaper. I love the Times of London. I'm doing an innovative project with them right now. But these institutions have got to change their business model to succeed.